Hello, giggly witches. Welcome to episode, is it number 18?
19.
Episode 19. And we have a very special guest today. We have Diana, the Waning Moon Witch. She's a psychic medium and a death doula. And we have been trying to get together forever. So I always believe the universe makes it happen when it's meant to. But I'm very excited that we have Diana here today. Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Also,
I realized I lied. It is episode 18. Sorry.
It's episode 18.
Sorry, everybody. But yes, they welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm very, very excited about it.
Well, thank you for having me on episode 18.
Yeah. You know what they say about episode 18? I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
We'll find out.
Okay. Well, I want to give a little background to how I invited Diana on the podcast. And Pam and Diana just met. I was introduced to Diana back a couple years ago when I was in a membership with Angelica Crazy about Hades, and Diana led a really cool class where we meditation. I remember very clearly we got in the bath and there was rainbow water cleansing us.
Oh my god!
And we hung out with Hades and ones in spirit.
Wow.
That's how I started following you. Yeah, because you talked. It says internet connection is unstable again. Am I still here?
I can hear you.
Here.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. It's
in and out.
Popped up. Okay. Okay. We're good. Okay. Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
So I wanted to give that context because, Diana's a psychic medium, so we want to talk about spirit and deities and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But before we dive into all that, we got to have some silly, goofy time, which I didn't really plan on. My silly, goofy time.
I love that. What is it?
Okay, so today we're just gonna ask some silly questions, and we all go around and answer.
Love it.
Yeah.
Pam, do you want to go first?
Yes. This goes this shout out question. This is sorry. You know what? Mercury shadow period has started.
It's Mercurying.
It's doing something. But yeah. Anyway, this question, shout out to my friend Maggie who first originated this question. I don't know if she came up with it, but it's the first way I heard it. And okay, you know the Muppets?
Okay, sure.
Okay, if you could take any movie in the whole world and change the entire cast into Muppets, but keep one person as a human,
oh fuck,
what would it be?
Such a good question.
And who would the human be?
Oh, I feel like I need time to think about it, but that's such a good question.
Okay. Wait, hold on. Maybe we can break this down a little. What if we did
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Are we thinking romp? I watch a lot of horror movies. I watch
I was I knew you were gonna say horror movies. That's
yeah.
All I 99.5% of the time, or yeah.
Kermit with a knife and a scream mask on.
I was gonna say it's just like Freddy Krueger, but everyone else is a Muppet and Freddy Krueger.
I would watch that.
Only the murderer, is the human, and everybody else is Muppets.
I would so watch that. I would totally watch that. Oh my god, this is a really good question.
It's yeah.
I want to see so many movies like this. Immediately I go Lord of the Rings, and I don't know which person. The only human, and everyone else is Muppets. That would be iconic.
Wait, what human?
That would be good. Frodo is human, and everybody else is Muppets, leading him on the road to.
Honestly, this might be a hot take, but I'm not a big Lord of the Rings girly. But Frodo to me is a Muppet.
It's crazy. He just kind of
what does he do?
He's already.
What does he do the whole time?
What is his job?
To get the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I love it. No. I'm
sorry.
I'm down for
Let me see myself out.
No.
Okay, my other
That's
one.
my hot take.
I immediately thought of my favorite movie. Well, Pam and I, our favorite movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
That is always my answer to this
That's a good
question.
movie.
Yeah. There's already puppets because I really want to see the vampire play.
I remember, yeah.
But like Jason Segel's the only human,
Yeah.
and everybody else is a Muppet.
That is
Okay.
that's my exact answer every time to this question. Whenever she like in a group of new people, if she asks that question, that's always my answer.
Okay, so this is not for genre, but it just popped in my head. Fight Club, everybody's a Muppet except for Edward Norton. That's it. Everyone else is a Muppet.
Yes.
Muppet Brad Pitt, everybody
I'm
else.
just thinking of like the Muppets fighting, and it's just like
fighting, yes. The Muppet of Meatloaf. I don't know who would play him. Like
That's
Jared
so
Leto Muppet.
Can I tell you a really scary story that I have about Freddy Krueger?
Yes, please.
yes.
So let me take you back. I was really little. I was probably like 7 or 8, and I had just found out about Freddy Krueger. And I'm cleaning my room. I reach under like my dresser, and I'm cleaning stuff out from under my dresser because I could see that there's stuff under there. I pull out a Post-it note that's not my handwriting. It's not my mom's. It's not my dad's. I don't know whose handwriting it is, but all it says on this Post-it note is Freddy will stay.
Stop. I have like chills all over my body right now. I
think I threw it back under there, and I was just like,
what?
Haunts me to this day. I don't know where it came from. I'm so afraid. Every time I tell the story, I get really afraid again.
No.
I'm even afraid.
Yeah, that's my Freddy Krueger story.
Okay, hold on a second.
I don't know where it came from.
Okay, did you have like other siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers, but like at that young of an age, like they
wouldn't have
known.
Okay, so this is my like hot take on it. Just like the way that I got chills all over my body, I was like, oh God, is this like I would say that I think that like there was something trying to mess with you for sure.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, how do they write on paper and pen? I don't fucking know how it works. They just do stuff.
They just
like
do.
But when you're young, right? Like you're super open and you're super like you don't know what grounding is. You don't know what protection is. You don't know like you're scared of the dark. You're scared of like everything. It's funny that you say that because I first watched Nightmare on Elm Street when I was probably like 4 or 5. It was very like I was an 8 like I'm 41, so I'm an 80s baby. So like hashtag 80s parenting. If you know, you know. So like parents would be like smoking cigarettes and like having coffee in the kitchen with like company, and all the kids would be like packed in one room, put their head, you guys okay? You guys good? Okay, cool. And like nobody ever censored anything we watched. And I remember I was with my cousins, and they were like 4 years older than me. And I was like, I always liked scary stuff and was very like, like when you see those memes of like, there's like somebody super gothy and then there's like a pink pony, and it's like both of my personalities. I feel like those are really like both of my personalities. But I just remember watching that movie, and I remember he had, the striped sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, the striped sweater is red and green, which is like a weird color combo. But like, I had a striped sweater that was red and gray, and I fucking did not want to wear that after. I remember like staring at night at my closet, this stupid shirt inside of there. I refused to wear it after.
Yeah.
That's my story.
Yeah.
I have a silly goofy connected to this. This isn't
my God.
question. It's just a story, like literally just now. Okay, so I got to this new Airbnb, and the walls are very thin, and it's really quiet, but somebody in this apartment complex snores, and I can hear it faintly.
Is it my dad?
And I got here. And it's not even someone that it sounds like it's like an aggressive snore. It seems like a pretty soft snore, and I got here at night because I drove back from out of the city. So I got here at night, like 9:30 or so. And I'm just in a new place, right? It takes a minute to get like settled.
Resettled in.
I'm like feeling a little like, and I'm so excited. I'm trying to go to sleep and I can hear this snoring. And I think it's the person above me because I'm on like the ground floor. It must be above me. But it sounded like it was in my apartment and I was God. Like, no. So I like got up and I checked under my bed because I was convinced there was like a man that was like waiting for me and he fell asleep and was snoring under my bed. There was nothing there. It was fine. But I was like in my bed and I was like, I convinced myself, I was like, there's a man under there waiting to kidnap me, but he fell asleep.
I think about this a lot, honestly, because when I was in college,
there wasn't.
My roommate told me this story. Like it was on the news, and this man had been living in this person's apartment under the bed, and he would come out when she left, like for work in the morning.
Oh no!
And I was like, "Oh no! Why would you tell me this story? Why would you tell me that?"
I need to start checking under the beds when I get now. I always check closets in the bathroom and like behind shower curtains whenever I enter a new apartment. But I haven't been checking under the bed, so adding it to the list.
I check the behind the shower curtain when I get home. Anytime. Oh yeah. Anytime, even if I've been home and all the doors are locked, I still check behind the shower curtain.
What's the movie? It's an older horror movie where she gets stabbed. Yeah, when she gets stabbed in the shower. Saw that. I can't close my eyes in the shower when I'm shampooing my hair. I'm convinced someone's gonna come in or somebody's waiting there for me.
Have you seen the videos on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff where they're like what it feels like when you close the lights? And they close the lights and they sprint up the stairs and someone dressed in all black is running behind them.
Literally that. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Like that's what it feels
like. Being in the basement. The sheer panic. Oh my God. I knew you were going to say basement.
Yeah. I always had creepy basements growing up. And like anytime I had to go down there, I would sprint so fast and you just felt like something was on your tail. Like,
yeah, I feel like that in the attic. I don't know why in Nashville I have an attic and not a basement, but I have the attic. And my friend Mel, she made fun of me the other day for it. I call her when I need something up there. And she's like, but I'm not even there. And I'm like, yeah, but then at least somebody knows.
Somebody will hear my screams.
Yes, like, somebody will know.
Oh my God.
Same way.
Somebody will know.
I don't have a basement. I live in a building, so I don't have a basement, and I don't have an attic that I'm.
So you're set.
So I'm set.
No crawl spaces.
No crawl spaces, but like my parents' house, I'm okay now in the basement. But growing up, I was not okay. I was always like, because I could always feel somebody was there.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know who it was. So it used to freak the shit out of me. I'd be like, nope. I'd be like running up the stairs. But then now I know who it is. So I'm just like, it's whatever. It's just a family member.
It's an old friend.
It's just someone hanging out. It's like, do you have to hang out down here? Like,
you have to be in the spookiest part of the house. That's what I would do if I was a ghost. I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to mess with people. I'm going to hit nice, but I'm just going to stay in the scary part of the
Okay, wait. I have another silly, goofy question.
Okay, awesome.
This is one of my favorite questions to ask. But if you were a ghost and you were like haunting someone that you like would want to mess with,
okay,
what would your like thing be? Just to be like so annoying.
Ooh, well, it'd probably depend on the person, right?
Yeah, this is someone that like you're not necessarily like fond of.
Okay, I have to think of the person I would haunt.
I have to think because I'm like mostly truthfully fond of most people.
Yeah, like I don't really have any.
Like there's nobody like I'm gonna like
somebody that you would just like want to annoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My dad for sure, because my dad does that kind of. He's notorious for like scaring the shit out of people like for years and years and years. All my friends, he hid in them. We used to have these like. At the front entrance of our house, they used to have these like the closet door was mirrored, right? So behind it you couldn't see what was there. And so he would like go and hide And then when he'd hear someone coming to the front door, he'd be like banging on the inside and like, oh yeah. And so
he deserves payback.
Yeah. I told him that. I said, you keep this up. I'm like, you know what? We're so morbid. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, when you're a ghost, I'm not gonna fucking talk to you. He's like, I'm not punch your ass. And I was like, yeah, I know you will. He'll do. So I would probably, I would say him. I would probably like, I'd probably like move his keys around or his shoes.
Yeah.
His
just like one shoe.
And put stuff in like random places where he's like questioning, like, am I losing my sanity? Like, how did this get here?
Yeah.
And then move it back. So then it's like, it was never there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would like, I think like my special prank would be like if somebody turned on like a certain music, I would change it to like the opposite kind of genre to like mess with them. Like if they were trying to listen to like, if they're trying to listen to like their like love playlist, I'd be like, I'm gonna put on some gangster rap.
Love it.
I would like switch the music to mess with their vibe. I feel like that's pretty harmless but very annoying. They'd be like, Sadie, cut it out.
Yeah.
Just keep playing, like, or always like Rickroll them. Like anytime they start playing music, like just play this. Just have like a song that I keep turning it back to over and over and over again.
Is there like a Sadie song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I could play Sadie by Alkaline Trio, Sexy Sadie by the Beatles. I saw another Sadie song recently. There's plenty. Maybe that's what I do. I just go through all the Sadie songs.
Yeah.
I love
that. You'll never forget about me, bitches.
I love it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I think I would just like open all the cabinets.
I was gonna say
like,
that's a good
that's
one.
Open and close the lights.
That's what happened to me in the haunted apartment I lived in. It always opened the fucking cabinets. And me and my roommate were like,
stop.
Like, can you, we both to each other be like, could you like close the cabinets when you're done? It wasn't either of us.
Ghost is like
cabinets in the kitchens, and we come down in the morning like, but that's all. It didn't do anything to like scare us or harm us.
Did they stop?
Just hungry.
We said we were like, you know, you can be here, but can you just like not scare us? And it didn't happen like every day or anything, but like once in a while we would just be like, we know that we didn't leave all these cabinet doors open. Now, and like sometimes stuff would be moved a little, but I think it was just sort of a cheeky ghost. It was like, we asked, we were like, just don't scare us. It's fine. Just don't scare us. And it was never a problem. And I never felt like I've had experience where I just feel like I'm being watched or something and it's unsettling. It never felt like that. So it was fine. We were like happily coexisting.
Why do I feel like it's like an old uncle type of vibe who just likes to
probably yeah like, oh, you girls, ha ha. It was totally not a like malevolent or dark energy at all. It was just prank us sometimes. That's the vibe I would go for too. Sure.
That's a great vibe.
Yeah, I love it. Good, silly, goofy questions. Okay, mine was if you have like a funny experience or maybe like a cheeky experience, like a time when like a spirit guide or a deity or a spirit was like, I don't know, something funny, or they were kind of sassy with you, or like a funny memory.
Oh God. Okay. I need to think about this for like a second.
Okay, I have one. There was one day where I was like meeting up for coffee with this guy who, I don't know, we like didn't talk for a really long time and we were finally like getting back together, not like getting back together, but like reconnecting and like whatever. And I was like, so I'm fine about it. And then as soon as I got in the car and started driving, I started talking to Archangel Azrael and I was like, you know what, I think I am actually kind of nervous. And he was like, oh no, I was talking to Rollo, my guide Rollo, who's a Viking king. They're both very sarcastic to me, so I mix them up sometimes in my but I was like, you know what, Rollo, like I'm actually a little nervous, I think, right now. And he was like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support, my guy.
I love that. How did it go though?
It was fine. We're not friends anymore, but that was fine. The coffee was fine.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's so funny. I I think like what I think of is like the dynamic between two of my spirit guides is like one is sort of a manifestation of my more like structured discipline side, and it's like a masculine energy that I call him Peter, but he very much gives like Eugene Levy energy.
I love that. Yeah.
I love
And
that.
then I have this other guide that is sort of a manifestation of my like free spirit side, right? And she looks like an angel. Her name's Mariella, and she's very like, ah. And their dynamic is like it's
Oh my God, like the Fairly Odd Parents.
Peter's in his suit, and he's just like, you guys, we have to stop, like, we can't be doing that. And me and Mariella are like, and it's just like, it's like what happens like in my brain in meditations it's like my groundedness and then my like free spirit trying to coexist.
Yeah.
And love like it. I've just had so many times where they make me laugh because he just sort of has that Eugene Levy like, girls, like we got to get real here.
I love
but it's all like
Eugene
me.
Levy.
It's a facet of me, you know? And it just makes me laugh.
I love that. Gosh, so like my thing, okay, so there's two. So one of my guides, he says to call him Brandon, but like I use interchangeably Jonathan because he looks like JVN from Queer Guy.
Yeah.
Queer Eye, sorry. Like
amazing.
Exactly. And he shows up in other readings that people do for me. And there's like, okay, there's this guy and he's coming in with this like big feather boa. I'm like, I already know who it is. And he's always giving me shit about, it's always like, it always has to do with like self-care and like, hey, why don't you just go put something pretty on and make yourself like, maybe I just want to wear my fucking yoga pants today. And he's like, really? Do you want to really wear that every
passive
day? And I'm
aggressive.
like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't need this right now. That's like one of he's very sweet but he's very like, you know, especially like when I'm feeling like I'm in a funk or something.
Yeah.
So he's great. And then like a story that happened, I've shared this on a podcast before, I think, but so my building, I found out where I live, it used to be an old age home. Prior to like, so I guess they tore down the building and then built up this condo. But I didn't know that at the time. I found that out through like a neighbor randomly who did research. So I was dyeing my hair in, I think this was during the pandemic. I was dyeing my hair in the bathtub and I had my head over like the bath. I was like bent over and I felt someone pinch my ass, literally pinch my ass. My hair flew up. My bathroom's white. So literally like a murder scene. There's like red dye everywhere. And I'm yelling and I'm like saying, that's not fucking cool. My husband's like runs in. He's like, what's going on? And I was like, some horny old man pinched my ass. And my husband was like, what the fuck?
I can't believe it.
I know. Yeah, no, that man never came back again.
Oh my God.
Clearly, because I probably scared him into the freaking seventh dimension because I was just screaming and swearing and saying how rude that was.
That is,
it was
so
rude.
Crazy.
It was so rude.
Oh my God.
I'm glad
the old man ghost.
That is rude. That is
and like listen,
really funny.
Like even after death, these men are fucking harassing us.
Even in death. Like, I felt it was a fucking pit. It was like a pinch. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Sir, please. Like.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And my husband was just like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know. No.
Like, I've just been violated.
I've just been violated by some spirit while I was just trying to like dye my hair. And like, yeah, it was just.
Imagine what that man, like how that man probably treated the nurses.
Oh my God.
You know, when he was.
I feel honestly, like, I feel he was like a cheeky old, like, old man who could get away with like dirty jokes where the nurses would be like, oh, yeah,
that's just how he is.
That's just Ned or blah, 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 or like whatever. And it's like, no, get the fuck out of here, please.
Oh my
goodness.
That is
that was a
so crazy
fun time. And then I had to clean my washroom because
there was hair
red everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. That is a story.
That is a story.
It is a story. And it's a story that I've told a few times before. And every time I tell it, I'm just like, how is this like real life?
How did this really happen?
How is this like, I'm just like, what the fuck? Do you ever think about that sometimes? I think about
literally all this.
Like, no, but like, it's just even like, not just like signs and synchronicities, just like, the craziest shit. And then you're just like, what? Like, how is this? And it's like, you know, it's happening and you know what's happened and you like are trusting yourself. But at the same time, you're like, this is real life. Like, this shit's like actually happening right now. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I also think like, I mean, we are more in tune with it, but I feel like so many people probably have so many like physical experiences with spirit.
Yeah.
But our brains are so quick to explain stuff that there's probably so much stuff that like even like I don't recognize as it because you just decide it's something else. You know what I mean? Like it's just a natural way our brains work. So it's just crazy. But yeah, having like I haven't had that many like physical experiences where like I feel something like that, but yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I had to set some boundaries after that, clearly.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
good Lord.
This is a no touch box.
This is you do not pass go. You
not allowed here. No,
do not go
interaction.
No, do not pass
go.
Do
not pass
to
go.
Jail. Straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
Oh my God. That's one of my favorite bits. Okay. That was quite the silly, goofy time.
Yeah, that was great.
Great job, everyone.
Yay.
But now we've got a little bit of a background on Diana, but I want to know, Diana, like, were you, because you're a psychic medium and a death doula, so were you always psychic? Is this something you discovered later in life? Give us a little bit of a history of you and like, I know you like you're a working psychic medium, you do readings, so give us a little bit of like background on how that all came to be.
Oh wow. Okay. So yes, so it's funny. I did like a post about this today. It was so on Threads also, and I shared it on my page. And I was basically asking people when did they first like know or experience like something psychic or something connected to mediumship happening to them, like because I just like to hear other people's stories. It like I would say it started around the time I was 4.
Oh wow.
And I have shared this before. I saw my mom's dad when I was 4, but like he died like 10 years before I was born, so I never got to meet him in life. And he kind of just went from there. I'm sure there's other stuff that I don't remember from like, but then there's things that are super vivid to me. So it kind of was the psychic part and the mediumship part was always there. I just didn't know really like what that was until I was like probably in my 30s, honestly. And it was when I like had met a few people in the community and I was like talking to them about like my experiences and all this stuff that's happening and all these things that have happened throughout the years. Like, and dreaming has always been a really big thing of mine, especially like since I was a kid. So it's like lots of like prophetic dreams and knowing things that happen, knowing things that happen about other people, which sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to know people's stuff, but for some reason I just know it. And yeah, and a lot of like mediumship in my dreams. That's where it kind of like started. And now it's just like the dreams. I don't know if you've been the dreams lately have been dreaming.
Insane.
They have been
unhinged.
Like unhinged to the point, like just I could talk about this shit all day. just fucking weird. Like I would say some prophetic stuff. some people who passed that, like, I ended up finding the people connected to these people. And then just random, like, I'll have like, I'll dream of celebrities sometimes. Does anybody ever dream of celebrities like randomly? It's the weirdest. I had like the weirdest dream here. I'll share it on here because it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a huge Deftones fan. I'm a huge Deftones fan, and I had this like, I've had 2 dreams of Chino, but it was the weirdest thing. I'm like, we're skateboarding in his garage at his house. I don't even know if his house, and maybe this is what his house actually looks like. Like, there was like a ramp, like a skate ramp. We're skateboarding, and we're just hanging out and skateboarding. And then I just remember in the dream, he's like, hey, do you want to go jump in the pool? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And we jumped in with our clothes on, and we're just like swimming around the pool. And like, pool, like, water is a portal too, right? So which I thought was like really, really weird. And yeah, that was just one of them I remember. And somebody else told me they had a similar dream about him with that. And I was like, what's this guy doing in dream time? He wants to go hang out and go skateboarding,
hanging out with everybody.
Like, it's so weird.
I did recently have a dream about, I've never really have celebrity dreams, but I recently had a dream about Megan Fox. And it wasn't that she was pregnant, but then like I can't really remember the dream, but I remember she was helping me like create something, and I can't really remember. She was like creating something, but it was like I felt like I was like on an alien planet, and she was like, we put this in here and we create it and things are created. I don't know. But then like a couple days later she announced she posted a like pregnancy. She's pregnant with MGK or whatever, and I was like,
interesting.
Weird. I didn't straight up dream she was pregnant, but I was just like, oh, I dreamed about her.
Like something was birthing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really weird.
That's awesome.
It wasn't literal, but it was, I just made me go, oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
I never dream about celebrities. Love Megan Fox, but yeah, it was random. That's interesting. Have you had any, Diana, have you had any like dreams or I don't know, downloads lately that you feel like are like good collective messages? Putting you on the spot, but has there been anything like coming up lately, themes?
No.
You're like, no, I'm just skateboarding with Chino.
Just fucking skateboarding with Chino. That's pretty much. No, like I haven't had like collective. No, it's just like it's so fucking. I honestly, yeah, I don't know. My brain is still like processing. Like I had a really fucked up dream last week that ended up coming true. And it's not technically related to me, but it's related to someone. And it was very traumatic. And then it like the timeline also lined up of when it happened and when I had the dream. And so my brain is still processing that because I was like, I couldn't do anything to prevent what happened, but I saw what happened before it happened. And then I was just like, well, fuck. And it was connected to a reading back in October, where I read for someone. I don't remember a lot of stuff after I say it. And it was apparently I said something about grief and grieving over friends. And like this, I was bringing up this stuff and they didn't really know what it meant at the time. And then when it happened, they were like, oh, fuck, this is what she was talking about. But like, I wasn't shown. It was so weird. I'm still like, I kind of feel a bit fucked up about it, honestly. Because I've, trigger warning, if anybody is going to listen to this past me saying this, just saying this is about death. So I have had, usually when I have dreams about passing away and stuff, it's usually connected to family members, and it's not, I'm not seeing it in a scary way or anything. So I just kind of, it's just like a heads up. But this was different. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because then you kind of feel like you can't, I think this is the hardest part, I'll say it, about being a medium, is if you know things, but you can't stop it or prevent it. because like you can't like, you can't play God or whatever, however you want to put that, but it's like you wish that you could or something. Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
I've never had that experience, but the person that I did my mediumship development with, oh, looks like I'm frozen. Oh, am I back? I froze for a second. But the person that I did mediumship development with, her, like, women in her family, she had said had a history of like seeing like accidents and like tragedies before they happened. And it freaked her out. So she was like, that was like when I started seeing stuff, that was like a boundary I placed right away. It was like, if I can't do anything about it, I don't want to see it. So it's never happened to me. I don't know if it's even possible for me, but that I was like, okay, that's a boundary for me too. I don't want to, I don't want to know. But I've never experienced, although, I think I've talked about this before. What was weird was when I was like, I want to say like 7, I had a dream about my mom getting cancer and dying. So I guess I can't really say that I've never had that dream, because I did have that dream and it happened when I was 24. But that's the only time I've ever had that. But I remember when it happened when I was a little kid, we were camping and I was like clinging to her the whole day because the dream felt so real. And I was so certain it was going to happen. And I didn't want to tell her why I was so emotional and clinging to her. And she was so annoyed with me. She was like, let me go to the bathroom. Like, you have to stop touching me. She was totally overstimulated. That was a very clear memory, but I was like, she's going to die. And she did, but it was a long time later. But I guess that was kind of a weirdly prophetic dream, because it was kind of exactly what happened.
Sometimes I think it's the timeline isn't always like, you know what I mean? It's not always right away. It could be years later. It could be like, so 100, I would definitely say, for sure. This was just very like, very fast, which was, I think never that's had why that experience. I've never had this before. That's why I was like, well, what the fuck is, what's going on here now? Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, you also work as a death doula.
Yes.
And I think that's so interesting. Tell us a little bit about what a death doula is, because maybe not everyone listening has like heard of that. If we've all heard of, well, maybe not all, but most of us have heard of like birth doulas. So what's a death doula?
So a death doula is essentially like helping you like exit this kind of like, I would say, the earthly plane. And it's really about offering support to not just the person that's like either passing away or going to pass away, but like it's a lot of support and comfort for the family as well. And like there's different roles that like I think it depends on your practice and how you want to go about it, but like there's nothing medical involved unless I guess you have medical certifications, which I do not. So I would never like do anything connected to that. It's just more for, I would say, for emotional and like even spiritual support as well.
Yeah.
And like in being a medium too, I feel like that's a different skill sets to use in helping, and it also depends if, if I were to work with family and they're just like, I don't give a shit that you're a medium, I don't want to know anything of like that's totally fine. I'm just there for you and like your family and helping you through. But like if there are people that are obviously open to that, I always ask for permission to tap in before I do that. So that's kind of, and then you can be there also to help afterwards, like
with the living family.
With the living family, you definitely can. Like I said, everyone does it differently. You can still offer your services. It's almost like therapeutic, I would say, right?
Yeah. Because doulas are really about like transitions, right? Like adjusting the transition.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I was going to ask if you use your mediumship in the death doula process.
Oh, amazing. I have for people who are open to it.
That are open to it.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So I'm thinking of like off the top of my head, one specific one was where someone like had reached out to me, and you know, their family member was like in the hospital, like dying, and they needed like I didn't get to go there or do anything. I kind of did this like through text message, which was really, you know what I mean? And you know, they were asking me for help and stuff. So I said, okay, I'm like, I just need to know if I have like her, you know, her permission. And so she said yes. She said yes, 100%. I said, okay, fine. Cool. So then I tapped in, and there was a few things that were coming through. And then I was describing this person, this man that I saw. And I remember she was like, I know who that is. That's her uncle. And I said, yeah. So he's waiting. And then I think she died like 3 hours later.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I had one experience that I was with someone that it was during COVID. So their loved one was in the hospital, but nobody, you know, that was just the worst. Nobody were alone. So they were like, can you just like kind of like tap into his energy and just if he's okay, or they're like, can you say hi psychically or something? I was like, let me just see what I pick up on. And he was just surrounded. I mean, there were so many family members in spirit in his room because he was all alone, and it was, you know, it's because nobody could go to the hospital
For sure.
So, but it was like, it was so beautiful, but I was like, I have bad news. I think they're all there because, you know, he's not going to make it. There was still hope at that time. And so it was very emotional. I was like, there's a lot of people there. He's not alone at all. And I think he can feel that. I don't think he feels alone. But because they're there, it does feel like he is sort of transitioning. But it was really cool. I have chills right now. You just, you know, you feel the love when you tap into in mediumship. And it was just like, I was like, he's
it's
okay.
like it's just so overwhelming because it's just like to feel like all of that love in like one space.
Yeah. How did you get into being a death doula? Where did this come from?
It was like this was like being at home in 2020 and like literally having fuck all to do. I started
like,
so I'm just like, well, I'm like, I don't want to go back to school again. I was like, let me, because I was just, you know, I had started my page in 2019, but that was like, I'm like, I'm gonna start a tarot page, and I would just like post little things here and there, and then it kind of just went from there. But I had heard about a death doula or end of life doula, and I was like, oh, I'm like, what is this? I want to like, and I will say like, and I will like credit Angelica like till the fucking cows come home with like, because like deity work as well, you know, I feel like for your first time, someone once said to me, they're like, wait, you first started working with deities and you immediately went to work with Hades? Like, they're like, what? And
that was me too, pretty much. Yeah.
It was just kind of like, you know, I was introduced to her page, and I was, you know, when she was teaching about him and talking about him, I was like, oh shit, I'm like, all of these signs have literally, like, I associate crows with him. I've had crows follow me my entire life. I just was like, oh, like, yay, birds, this is cool. I'm like the movie Crow. I'm like, I feel like Brandon Lee right now, but like with all these, and it was other things too. And I was like, wow, it feels like this person was like calling out to me for like such a long time, but like obviously I had no effing clue. And the reason why I bring that up with the death doula work is because it's like, I tend, the deities that I do work with and have, the majority of them are, you know, all underworld, which is not but it makes sense now, and considering like the work that I do. so yeah, so that kind of just got that rolling. And then I heard about a death doula and I was like, oh, what is this? And then I, read up on it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so interesting. And then I took an online college certificate course during that time. And then I've taken a few, and I mention them all the time because they're so great, death wives, for anybody who is wanting to learn. I've taken like a few one-off classes from them, but like I do want to take more because I feel like there's so much to learn, because they also teach you the business aspect of it as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of like how I just found, I kind of just tend to roll with things. I think that's why I'm like, well, okay, we're doing this now. Let's see what happens. And then you kind of just, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh man, should I be like more structured or something? But I feel like it's also very like intuitively based. You just kind of go with your gut and you try it. It's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work out or you don't like it.
Yeah, something else. That is the worst.
That is the worst.
That is the worst thing. Is that I fail.
No.
Okay. Okay, I have another question. I'm super curious. So, because you work as a medium and as a death doula, working in the world of death and the afterlife, and you're all of us here, I think, work with underworld deities as well. But what's something that in your work and in your experiences that you've like learned about death or the afterlife that's like just been really interesting or maybe surprised you? Is there anything that like stands out?
Yeah. Oh God. Oh man. I'm probably gonna get in a lot of trouble for this. Specifically with maybe Catholic-based faith people.
That's okay.
That's not our.
I know.
We're all recovering Catholics here.
Listen, like it's interesting because like I also like work. There are some archangels that I work with. I feel really connected to Mother Mary. Like that's. I've always been connected to her energy. So it's like when I say it's just I feel like you can have faith that's not like rooted and based in religion, right?
Absolutely.
So like, where people are like, oh man, hell is like this and this and this. I'm like, no, it's actually no, there's no, sorry. That's not what it is. I actually heard a reader recently describe like hell is not like fire and brimstone. It's basically like kind of like karmic loops. Like,
oh my God,
being put on a. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's literally how it is in the show Lucifer.
Yeah.
They have a hell loop.
Yeah.
Watching it, so I'm not very far in the show.
Oh,
good. He's very good looking. Every time I'm watching with my husband's like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's like, okay, but that's what a reader said. I think it's Aphrodite. He's on YouTube. He's like my favorite.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, he did a reading on like the devil and hell and like that kind of thing, and it was like super interesting. And it was I feel like that's
I think too. There's the book Interview with the Devil or something like that. It's really interesting, but he talks about how like hell is not a place you go. It's something that like you get caught up in while you're alive on Earth.
Yeah.
And it's like the karmic cycles you're stuck in.
Yeah.
And going through the same shit over and over and over again. So it's like self-created, and that's sort of like what we're trying to do, living lives over and over again, is sort of like learning how to break free from that.
Yeah.
Learning how to
like
create our own heaven, essentially. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that, like your own like personal hell.
Yeah. It's like it's interesting.
It's kind of like like I said, like a loop. So like think about, I think American Horror Story did this with like one of the witches was sent to work in, I think, like a Walmart or something, and that was her like hell. And it was the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I think that like that makes sense.
That's how I feel at the bar. That's my hell.
Like
my
I
hell
went from
loop.
like retail job to retail job to retail job to retail job, thinking it would get better, and I finally broke free from it. And like, yeah, I still have other struggles and challenges and whatever, but I broke free from that.
But that's what I'm saying. Right? There's like cycles like that people can like stand through their whole life. And like heaven to me is just like, I feel like from what I've like experienced and seen and connected to, it's just like, I don't know, it's like being in your favorite place like forever.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. Some people, to them, might, if they think that theirs is a pearly white gate, then theirs is a pearly white gate. You know, it's like different for everyone.
Yeah. One of my favorite books, that it's a fiction book, but it was really profound, like on a spiritual level, and I always recommend it, is called Reincarnation Blues. But the premise of it is like you're kind of like reading through multiple reincarnations with the same soul, and in between too, when he dies and he's like reconnecting with his guides and they're kind of like rehashing. But the idea is that you get like 1,000 chances to basically like kind of like reach enlightenment. So you go through these different kinds of lives to sort of learn every facet of being a human. So there's really, really difficult lives, and it's not punishment. It's not like, oh, you were bad, so you have a worse life next time. It's more about like you go back up and you decide, I need to learn this lesson this time, and that's your soul contract. And I just felt like, obviously not everything in the book resonated, but just the sort of general concept of it, I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. Some of the bigger things in our lives that I do think could be predestined, like me and my mom agreeing, like we're gonna have a really close relationship, be two peas in a pod, and her soul contract was like dying at a young age. My soul contract was like the grief of losing my mother. I think like that something like that would have been like agreed upon, and like that's the soul's revolution amongst other things in this lifetime. And I don't know, it was a really good book, Reincarnation Blues, for anyone who wants to read it.
I'm interested to look that up now.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
You know the show The Good Place? Have you ever watched?
Love that show.
Okay, so
that's a good show.
That is also, I heard another reader talk about like that's how they use that as an example of like, because they thought they were in the good place, but really they were in the bad
place. And it like everything resets all the time. And yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think like this is a whole nother thing we could go down the path to talk about, but I really think like writers of fiction shows, fiction books, like they don't understand that they're tapped into something, but I think a lot of times they are just they're channeling.
100%.
You know, like it's not made up. Yeah.
No, it's if you like, does anybody read Stephen King books here?
No.
Oh,
yes. I love Stephen King.
Oh my God. He is, I love that man. But if you like, all of his books are interconnected somehow. And like, there are so many books with people who have the shine, which is, you know, which I feel like is really interesting, especially when I started reading his books when I was like in elementary school, which again, like nobody cared what I was reading. It's fine. But it was, I just found like, I was like, he talks an awful lot about people having the shine, which is like, you know, being psychic, being telepathic. Like, I'm like, does he maybe have something? Or like, and I know, yes, cocaine in like the 80s and stuff, but like
a lot of alcohol.
I did drugs kind of make your ego go aside and just
and it kind of tap into something else. So like, good for.
I did do my like junior author paper in high school. You had to do it. It was like an entire year project. And I did it on Stephen King because my boyfriend was a year older than me and he told me that he would give me his project. And then when the time came, he never did. And I was like, why are you making me do a scary one?
Oh no.
But anyway, I learned a lot about Stephen King. Because I spent an entire year researching him. But yeah, I definitely think he's tuned into something.
Yeah.
First of all, if anyone's a Stephen King fan, he just joined Threads and is being hilarious on Threads.
I have seen some of his Threads.
So funny.
I'm trying to get him to say hi to me.
I love him.
Okay, let me try this out. Stephen King, and then I threaded Stephen King, but like I haven't heard anything yet. But someone did that, and they're like, so all I have to say is Stephen King, and he's gonna say hi, and then he commented hi to this person, and they're like,
it's in my storage unit back in LA, but I literally have a t-shirt that says like I can't remember, it says like I love Stephen King or Stephen King something. Yeah. But the oh my god, this was like the best thing ever, but it was so scary. So one of his like biggest books is The Stand, and during the pandemic I got bored and I started like a horror book club. And I didn't know what The Stand was about. I don't like to like read backs of books and stuff. I just was reading a bunch of Stephen King at the time, so I picked it up, whatever. And it's about a pandemic. And like
yes, that's
99% of the world's population is wiped out in like 10 days. And it's about the survivors and the way they're drawn to a good and there's like a light and a dark energy, and like different people drawn to different things. It's the most insane, amazing book. It's long, but the character development in it, everything. Oh, it's so good. And it was so crazy. I started reading it like the first week of COVID because I was like, oh, it's a big book. Like I have time.
It's huge.
I was like, we're all gonna die.
No, oh my god, that's like
so good. That's like I literally read it in a week.
That's like watching Titanic on a cruise.
On a sinking boat. Yeah.
Like that's amazing.
It's such a good book if you like horror and Stephen King and stuff. It's so good. But yeah, I don't do it anymore, but my thing is every time I'm in a used bookstore, I try to collect, like find a new Stephen King book. I collect.
Oh,
Stephen
I love
King.
that.
So I have a bunch. Yeah. I love Stephen King. Love it.
I love him too.
Daddy Stephen King came up.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Shout out. I'll tag him in the episode.
Okay. Tag him.
And he'll say hi.
I'm gonna I want to manifest meeting him. Like that's my dream.
This will be the clip.
I remember. Full circle. I remember when COVID was happening, everyone was like, Stephen King predicted this. And he was like, no, I didn't, you guys. It's a completely different kind of pandemic. And he was like, really, really defensive.
He was like, please don't say that.
I did not predict it because there was like articles and everybody was tweeting it or whatever.
Oh,
no. He was like, no, I didn't. Cut it out. He was super defensive.
He's got the shine, I'm telling you.
He has the shine. He does. And there's tons of examples of different authors, sci-fi from a long time ago, and not predicting stuff. I mean, there's so many examples. We could do a whole episode about that. So
we should do that on The Simpsons.
I was just
those
doing that.
They have a psychic on stuff.
They definitely do.
On retainer for sure.
1,000%.
So crazy.
Call us Simpsons.
Honestly, yeah.
Truly. Okay, I have more questions, but Pam, you have a question before I go again.
I would really love to talk more about the Underworld.
Ooh, okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have so many questions. I don't know where to start. I guess, how did you start working in the Underworld? And when did you know that? Well, I guess we kind of talked about like you've seen signs, but like how did you like really start working with Hades and like start working in the Underworld?
It was really from like Angelica's House of Hades Society that I did like two rounds of it. And that's where it like started. And then, and on my own, I would just start from like meditating and, setting up an altar and sitting at my altar. And like, it's interesting because there's a lot of people who dream a lot about deities, and I've started to dream about them again more recently. Like, so he had never visited me in a dream, but he's been in my dreams like a few times now, which is really interesting. And that's kind of like, honestly, that's how it started. I say for people, like nobody is, you are not obligated to work with a deity, to be a witch, to be a psychic, to be a medium, like anything like that. Like you're not, you don't have to. And it, you know, I would never have thought of it. And then it just kind of presented itself to me, and then it just made sense. And I guess because of working in that realm, more people started to like pop in that I connected to as well. Yeah, so it kind of just like built from there. And like I can talk about this stuff all day. Like there's some that have like come to me and like wanted to work with me, like, and asked me several times, and I'm like, no. I'm like, no thank you. I'm like, thank you for asking, but no thank you, I'm good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's just kind of like how I started. And I say that if you want to get into that kind of work, you know, find a trusted source, and like use discernment is like really important. And find somebody that you connect to. And I'm not here to like shit talk TikTok at all, but there's no, like, TikTok.
Say that 5 times fast.
TikTok. Like there's good information, but there's like also a lot of misinformation. So like, you know, and like just make sure you feel comfortable in what you're doing. And yeah, that's kind of like, that's how it went for me.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Anything with your spiritual journey, it's like take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If something doesn't feel good, if something doesn't feel right, like that's okay. You don't have to, because I just really don't believe there's one right way to be spiritual. I think there's so many,
for sure,
religions and facets and ways, non-denominational ways you can be spiritual and whatever. And it's because like God, the universe was like, there's different paths that different kinds of people will connect with easier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give them options. Like, that's what I really believe. As long as what you do is based in love and respect, then it's like, there's really, those are the rules. That's it.
Yeah. Like truly.
Yeah.
I really think that. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of a put you on the spot question, but
oh no.
if someone doesn't like work in the underworld, or they haven't, or they don't work with any chthonic deities, and they like don't really want to, what would you say is like one of the number one things that they could, not to like they would have to work in the underworld, but like what is like, oh my god, sorry, I'm having trouble phrasing my question, but like what is like the number one thing that you think that people could learn from the underworld?
Oh my god.
Or top 5.
Like one thing, Diana.
I think,
or maybe like personally, what was like the biggest transformation or benefit?
That's not a scary place.
Yeah.
Because I think, and again, I go back to like certain types of religion that basically they say like underworld is hell, which that's not what it is. No. And I think that if people were open to that, and it would be less, quote unquote, less scary, because I think that, you know, there's a lot of like, and I feel like it's coming back to like satanic panic and like all this shit, of just people being, that's bad and that's evil and that's this and that's that, but like, or I had this experience, and it's just like, okay, most of the time it could be psychosis, like, let's just be real, like religious trauma is a thing too, for sure. But I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like working there and like working in that realm is just kind of like, it's almost like having no fear. Like I'm not really afraid of many things. I used to be, it's really weird. I used to be petrified of the dark. Like,
me too.
I fucking hated it.
Yeah, used to.
Now I'm being a psychic kid and not understanding.
Yeah, like I just was like always, and I think it was always because like growing, you can feel things in the dark,
and you
but
can't
like,
see that nothing,
and you can't see it.
There. Yeah.
But then when you realize that there's nothing that can hurt you or that's trying to hurt you, then you're not afraid of it anymore. It's like spiders. I was petrified of spiders. Now I like capture them and release them. I used to be so scared of them, and then I was just like, yeah, it's weird. My mom's like, what? She's like, you used to like, but I can see them in the dark, which is really fucking weird. I can point them out. It's so strange. I don't know what that's about. Never looked into it. Don't know what that's about. Maybe I don't want to know what that's about, but I can point them out, and I wear glasses, and it's usually without my glasses on.
Wow, yeah, that's
so crazy.
It is so. If you ask my brother, he will tell you, because when I used to live at my parents' house, I'm like, there's a spider right there, and he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, turn on the light and look, and then he was like, holy shit. And I'm like, kill it. And so he'd tried to kill it, but he would drop it, and then it would like fall on my bed. Yeah, I know. And then I'm like, I'm not fucking sleeping in here.
Sell the house. Burn it down.
Burn it down. Please.
Burn it. Did I say stand there and look stupid? No, I said burn it.
Yes, burn it down.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll watch Vampire Diaries again.
Love it. That's so funny. I was just talking about that today.
I literally didn't know that was from. It's just from TikTok. Yeah. I was just thinking about this because like I so agree that like working in the underworld and like traveling there essentially in meditations and stuff, I would equate the feeling, because it's very grounding, versus when you try like, I don't know, when I imagine myself sort of traveling like upwards, I guess
it feels different.
Like that totally feels, you kind of feel like high, and it's you can get, and because you have to ground before you do that, but like I feel like going to the underworld is like, when you're like so like, but like in a really like delicious way, you're like so exhausted physically, and you sink into like a really cozy bed, and you're just like, and it's like, and you feel so like you're sinking into the bed. I feel like that's what going to the underworld feels like. It's like you're like, just, I don't know, like it's a very supportive, like nurturing energy to me. Like I always feel just so like my shoulders can relax, like I'm good, I'm taken care of, like, or maybe that's Hades energy, but that's how I feel when I like do my meditations in the underworld. And I travel there when I do my readings because I feel so safe there. And I'll imagine my client like sitting there with me.
Oh, I love that.
And that's how I do my readings, because I just feel good there. I love the underworld. Underworld, love it.
Not to be mistaken with the movie Underworld, everyone. But those movies are also fun.
Those movies, oh yeah.
Those are great.
Yeah, those movies are great. Yeah. I was like,
I don't know.
The what's her name? What's the actress's name?
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. They're like werewolf movies, right? Werewolves?
Yeah, they're vampires? Like vampire werewolves. Like,
yeah, of course.
Very sexy movie.
Yeah.
The fighting. I love it. I love that. Let's see. I think we like kind of covered. Oh, do you have more questions, Pam?
Kind of.
Go for it.
Okay, so I also saw you have so many really cool offerings and a lot of things that you do. So I was wondering also if you feel like your work in the underworld has helped with ancestor work.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I do feel like that's helped a lot. Almost like bridging the gap between
that. Makes sense.
For sure. I definitely feel like, and I also feel like working with like in the underworld has also helped with like open mediumship up even more as well. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely would say that that's because I didn't start ancestral work until I started doing this kind of stuff first, and then it kind of led into that, because it's also because I started asking a lot of questions, because my mom had always, when I was young and I would tell her about some things, she was like, yeah, she goes like, me and your grandmother also know when things happen, we just know stuff. And I said, oh, okay. That's cool.
Oh.
I'm like, all right.
Can you
can you
expand on
you
that?
elaborate a little bit more? Like, is that, but that's pretty much it. I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna figure this out. And it wasn't until like, it's funny because I started talking to like other cousins of mine, and other cousins were like sharing. And then especially when I started doing lives and readings and stuff like that, some of my cousins would like, and they'll come on and they'll watch, and they'll message me sometimes and they'll be like, yeah, so I had this, like, this happened and this happened, and I was like, dude, you're a medium, like. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, yes, are like, because so one of my great aunts, I found out, was my grandmother just randomly said it one day to my mom, because my grandmother doesn't really like what I do. But that's from like the Catholic version. But I'm like, but yeah, I don't understand.
I'm a life coach. I don't do other stuff.
Yeah, my grandmother just shakes her head, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, she randomly said one day, told my mom that my great aunt was talked to the dead. And she just kind of said, a matter of fact, my mom's like, what the fuck? And it's funny, I connect to her. I'll call her in sometimes when I'm doing my readings and stuff. I think it was just it's like I said, it's just the offerings and things that I do, like especially when I'm teaching psychic development or mediumship, and it's just kind of, I just want to help people tap into what's already there, because it's just so natural. I think it's just when your logical mind, which is normal, questions things like to death, you can be missing all of these things and then realizing, oh shit, I was connecting, or this was a message from someone. And I just want to show people that it's not as hard as you think it is. Now, granted, some people can be more blocked than other people. That takes a little bit more time and energy and work on their part. Whereas I feel like if somebody's just like super open to it or open already, it's easier for them.
Yeah.
What would you say typically blocks people?
Fear, like being afraid or thinking it's scary, or being afraid that you're not going to be like, I hear it a lot. Like, what if I can't turn it off? I'm like, no, you can. You can, but I understand why it would seem, and as much as I love scary movies, I blame media for a lot of it too, because it's a lot of, it's like watching some movies now, I'm just like so fucking annoyed. We were watching Blair Witch 2, which is a fun one. And there's like the witch in the movie, and every time she talks, I'm like, my husband's like, why are you so, I'm like, because I'm like, every 5 seconds she's mentioning Wicca and all of this stuff. It's like, girl, no one talks like that, please.
They really need to be hiring actual.
But it was like the 90s. It was like early
these things.
Yes, it was like early 2000s, right? So it was like, and anyways, so I'm just sometimes
I was just watching some interviews about
you were gonna say this Hocus Pocus?
No, not Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
I love Hocus Pocus.
Why is the name with the teenage girls?
Oh wait, what? The Craft?
The Craft. They had a witch that consulted on that movie on set.
Yes.
And I was like, and the one actress, I'm so bad at names. The one actress was like really into it. Like she genuinely was a witch.
I thought you were gonna say Hocus Pocus, because I also
didn't remember. Cool. They hired a legitimate.
What?
Oh, it froze first.
I thought you were done because I think you froze on mine.
And then your voice got all like laggy and I couldn't really understand what you said. Sorry. I've been here for like 4 days and the internet's worked perfectly the entire time. And then we're recording. We're talking too much about spirit. They're like, hello.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you notice, my face is on
snorer spirit is
my
here.
face is on fire, which happens.
That happens to me when I'm channeling. I get really
happens to me when I'm
hot.
channeling.
I thought I was just weird.
No, I like go.
My ears get red. My cheeks get red. I get kind of blotchy.
Yeah, my face gets red. I get really hot.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, crack a window open. I'm fucking dying right now.
Yeah, no, that happens to me too. We're because we're raising our vibration to like meet spirit. So
100%.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
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 Okay.
So are you connecting to something right now, Diana?
I don't fucking know. I'm like, no, I'm just, my head hurts, which is really weird. Like here.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's.
Well, if you get anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think it's like, you know what I find really funny? I feel like when you're like tired, that's like the best time to connect. When you're in that like sleepy in between state, reading books does it.
Yeah.
Like zoning out.
Present.
Yeah, and then just like
absolutely
stuff coming in though, but I don't know why the fuck my face is on fire.
I did see something earlier. I don't know what it was, but it looks like a flash. And I was just like, what? Haven't seen one like that.
I saw a little flash over there too, but I thought it was just like, I don't know.
No, all my windows are closed. I literally have a thing.
No, I saw something in my apartment too.
Oh.
There's something
but I see stuff
here right now.
Sparkles.
See, in my brain, you pointed in the direction that it was in my house. So I was like,
come on.
Who's here? Don't answer that. I don't.
Yeah, don't answer that.
Oh my God.
I don't have that in me, right?
You can stay, just don't scare me. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all you. Do you have experiences in like Airbnbs and stuff?
I just had one. I told it last week on the podcast. But I'll summarize it really quick here. So this was so scary. So okay, so I was in this beautiful Airbnb for a week, and the first half of my stay there didn't feel anything, totally normal. I don't know why I'm holding a pen. Totally normal, nothing going on. And then so we figured out what happened because I went to a concert face to face here in Mexico City. Any face to face fans. But I went to this concert and I came home, and the next day was fine, but like nighttime, I felt like I felt a presence, but I had like a patio, so it wasn't in my house, but there was the door had a window. There was no curtain or anything I could close, but I kept feeling like somebody was out there. I felt like somebody was looking at me, but there wasn't. It's my balcony, nobody's out there, right? But it wasn't coming in the house, but I felt like I was just like I felt like there was like a man out there or something. I was really like
gonna say that.
I felt really like spooked. And there was noises too, as if there was like rustling around, which could have been an animal or something, absolutely. But I hadn't experienced that any other nights. I hadn't seen wildlife. I don't know. That could have been separate. But anyway, so I'm like going to sleep and I'm hearing all sorts of rustling, even though I've closed my bedroom door and it's like the balcony. I'm still hearing stuff out there. And I'm like, please stop, please stop. I'm so scared. So I'm by myself. And so as one does when you can't sleep, you start scrolling on TikTok. And I don't normally stop on these TikTok readers, that are like this sign, whatever. But this girl says, it starts off and she's pointing at where the time shows up on your phone. And she says, if there's a 1, a 2, or a 4, this reading's for you. It was fucking 1:24 in the morning. I almost fucking threw my phone across the room. I was like,
Jesus, I just got chills.
And then, so I'm like, okay, I'm locked in. So I'm watching. She's got this. I think she's like mixed multiple decks together or something. She's got like a deck like fucking this. I don't know how she's shuffling it. But are you okay? But she pulls a card out and it says haunted. There are spirits around you. And I was like,
no.
So then, but then this was what my brain needed, because I went, oh, there's a spirit out there.
Oh my
so
God.
I asked it to leave, and it fucking did immediately, and I was able to go to sleep. But I couldn't, like, like, it's like your ego, right? Like, you're just like, there's nothing out there. I don't know why I'm feeling spooked, whatever. But my brain, even though I'm a witch and I'm a fucking psychic, I don't think, oh, there's a spirit. I'm just like scared. And then I see this card and I go, oh, there's a spirit. So I was like, hey, you can be here, but please, you're scaring me. Please stop scaring me. And then it was fine. It was quiet. I felt the energy go away and I went right to sleep. And I didn't realize this, but then when we were talking about it last week, Pam was like, oh, something followed you home from that show. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it was in this like really old historical place.
What?
Or I could have picked it up in the subway. I took the subway home, but I don't know. But it was crazy. That was just really recent. That was literally like a week or two ago. Other Airbnbs and hotels. In one hotel I was in, it was definitely haunted. I felt like I was being watched there. And my brain went, there's a camera in this room. There's it.
No.
Although it was in South Korea, so they are kind of famous for, you have to check for cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
But I did, and I couldn't find anything. So I think it was a ghost. But yeah, I haven't had, like, I'm pretty good at intuitively picking places, I feel like.
When I was on tour, I don't have control over where we stay.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of stories like that, but there's one hotel I will literally never forget it. It's, to quote Justin Bieber, I've seen what I've needed to see. Immediately no.
Oh my God.
I was like, immediately no. I was like, can we find another room? Like, this is bad. The like faucet was in the bathtub was like leaking. There was like the like eerie drip sound. And then we were there for 2 nights, and both nights, the 2 people that I was in the hotel room with, none of us slept. They both had horrible, horrible nightmares, and because I can feel them and sense them, I could still.
I don't even know what you're saying.
In my ear. I woke up because I could feel him in my ear, like snarling.
Oh,
like,
no.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, ugh.
Oh, I just got chills all over my body.
It was terrible. It was so bad. And I was like, why do we have to sit here? Like, do they not have any other rooms? Like, can we please?
Where was this? I'm so intrigued.
I want to say DC, but I don't think that's right. I think it was probably wherever we were before DC. I can't remember.
I'm like, if you were
was so
like
bad.
Michigan or something, because like there's some weird shit. Like, I don't know what's up with that.
No,
place.
but I did go. There was one venue, I think it was in Ohio, and it's
in Michigan.
It's a venue that is an old Masonic temple. And I was telling everybody, I was like, there's something not right with this place. Like, something is really, really wrong with it. But I didn't know that it was a Masonic temple.
Yeah.
When we were there, I learned that later in the night. And I was like, something is, 1, following me, and 2, something feels really bad. The thing that's following me doesn't feel necessarily bad. It feels sad. And then the next day I learned that there was a little boy that was killed there.
Oh.
But yeah, definitely touring stories like that.
Also, like, the music industry is just
so interesting. There's never any windows in any of those venues. It's dark. God. People are releasing stuff all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those weird, creepy stories from tour. Staying in hotels and Airbnbs and things.
Whew. Dang.
Wow.
Wow.
I love that This was kind of a spooky episode. I think we covered a lot of good things, though.
Yeah, I think so too. Very excited about it.
This was thank you so much.
Do you have any more questions?
Just one, but it's kind of cheesy.
Oh, I love cheesy.
Okay, what's your favorite part about being a psychic / medium / death doula? I'm gonna get
life doula. Super emotional because
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just like I've just been my emotions lately. I'm just like
no, yeah.
Was watching an episode of Bob's Burgers that was touching, and I started crying last night.
Hey, wait, did everyone else sleep really bad last night?
I slept. I had weird dreams last. I had a celebrity dream last night. It's fucking weird.
I didn't dream last night, but my friend told me about a really crazy dream he had last night. That was like,
why was something happening in the situation?
I don't know. I could not actually fall asleep until after 3 a.m. and then I dreamt the whole night.
Yeah, my friend woke up at like 4 and was dreaming like 6, waking up and falling back in it. I was like,
I went to the washroom and then went back into the dream.
Well, we're transitioning so crazy right now. We had we're transition. Today is like the day that like Pluto moves out of Capricorn after like 1,000,000 years. That's not. Right?
Oh yeah, isn't it?
Not it's like 230 years. Oh no, that's a lie. It's 20 years.
Time.
Isn't there something like good for cardinal signs today?
Yeah. So for cardinal signs, sorry, I said 230 years because that's the orbit that Pluto. So in my brain,
feels like 230.
I was like, yes, that's it.
The next time Pluto will be in Capricorn is in like I think it is 230.
230 years.
Yeah. But it transits signs every 19 or 20 years.
Okay.
But yes, for cardinal signs, it's moving out of Capricorn. So everyone's like, oh, cardinal signs are getting a break. And then, then it'll go into fixed signs. And I was like, oh, good. It's moving out of all of my Aries into my rising sign. I was like, perfect.
I don't know
moving into Aquarius.
You know this on the top of your head. What are the cardinal signs and what are the fixed signs?
I think
Cardinals is Cap, right?
Cardinal is Capricorn, Libra, Aries. Cancer, and Aries.
Yes.
And then I think
what are the
mutable is I literally have my astrology notebook next to me because I was doing my verse right before. So why don't I, before I lie to everybody, think about my notes. But I'm pretty sure mutable fire is Sagittarius. Sagittarius. I think Virgo.
Yeah.
And because Taurus is fixed Earth. And then mutable, I think, is Pisces. Where the hell are these notes? I know they're in here somewhere.
You're all look it up on our own, but what? I got distracted. I disassociated for a second. I'm gonna be honest.
You're so funny.
I'm gonna be real with you.
Hey, what sign? What are your big three?
I'm Virgo Sun, Aries Moon, Sagittarius Rising.
Okay.
I'm Aries Sun, Aries Moon, and Aquarius Rising.
Oh, okay.
What are
Aries, you? Aries Sun, Pisces Moon, Scorpio Rising.
Ooh,
all of our Aries energy here together. It was like our guest had Aries energy along with us. I love my Aries energy.
I do. I love
Aries season is the season I feel best all year. Like Aries energy just cracks me out. I love it.
Scorpio season cracks me out.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's a fair one.
I think Sagittarius because that's my rising. So we're almost there. But that's also going to be Mercury retrograde. So we'll see how it goes. Although I've learned
I was just going to say
and so I realized maybe I'm fine during Mercury retrograde. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. I've decided that's what that means.
We are talking about Mercury retrograde next week though, so
yes.
Yay.
It's a good little teaser.
That's awesome.
Come back next week. Giggly witchy. Oh god. Okay, so
okay, wait.
Oh, what yes. Were you gonna say?
Emotion.
Sorry. Yeah. We got really off topic. So
I'm telling you, this is normal for us. This is an Aries thing.
Yeah.
Or fire sign in general.
Yeah. Most of us also have ADHD, so
yes.
The big fire sign thing.
Amazing. Amazing. I think you asked me what's my favorite thing.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Oh my god. I'm so surprised I remember that, guys.
What if we asked that question and then we were like, okay, bye everyone. And
you're like, deuces later.
Okay, what's your favorite part?
Okay.
Lay it on us. We're ready. Focus.
Okay. My favorite part about being a psychic and a medium is like, I don't know. I think it's really nice to be able to help people in another way or give someone clarity. Because like I always say, like, you are your own guide. You don't need to look to other people to be your guide.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want the extra validation or just like the reassurance, because like that's what we all want that. So I'm more than happy to be that. And like with connecting people to their past loved ones, I do a lot of grief work as well, and I just want people to know that your people like never really leave you. It's different. Yeah. It is different. Yeah. It's and I think that's the hardest part sometimes is, you can't just call that person on the phone and hear their voice or like go visit them at their house, which is, that's the part of being human that sucks. But
it's fine.
It's like our chants are like,
oh.
No, it's just so beautiful the way you phrased it, and you're so right.
Yeah,
it's just I think it's yeah. I think that, and I wish that, and I think a lot more people are open to it now. Obviously than like they ever were before, which is I think is so great. And you could feel like sometimes I'll share, this is gonna be sad. Sometimes and I'm sure that you've felt like this, or anybody who's listening who is maybe like not even have to be tapped into their spirituality, but maybe you are. And sometimes it can feel super isolating and super lonely, and you can feel like there's like you're just like completely alone, and you can be in a room full of people. But then you're like, you're never alone.
Yes.
Right. And this is where I get like, you're never really alone ever, even if you feel like you are.
Yeah.
I think like something that is so, and I did mediumship for a while, and it's such a beautiful job. It was just not for me because it is so emotional.
It's
losing somebody close to me. It was hard to do.
For sure.
But I remember the first few years after my mom died, and what everyone always says to you, they're still with you. And it would kind of make me mad because I was like, I don't feel her. I don't understand. We were so connected. I feel nothing. Where is she? She's supposed to be with me. Everybody's telling me this. And it kind of made me mad. I had this anger about it. And all it took was my first mediumship experience, getting a reading, receiving a reading from a medium. And it clicked. And from then on, I felt my mom so strongly. And it's such an important job. And it is. It's like, it's just validation. And once you have that something to grasp onto, it's part of being human. And we have a hard time believing
100%.
And when a mediumship, and that's an evidential medium, can offer you something where you're like,
how do you know Like how
Yeah.
like how do you know that?
And it was like my mom swooped back into my life, and what you said about it's not the same. It still hurts. There's still a hole there, but there's so many times that sometimes I almost forget and I pick up my phone to call her to tell her good news or something, and it's just like, oh fuck, that like gut punch. But it's not the same. But yeah, it's really beautiful.
It's not the same, but it's different. So like
yeah, but it's really beautiful. And
it is a really beautiful thing. And when you were describing like so, oh god, I'm getting in trouble for this too. So I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, she's always with you, but like I'm like, but do you believe that? Because those are people I feel like that are not
it's
like
just one of those things we say.
one of those things we say.
Yeah.
But I think what happens though, it's grief. And when you're like so enmeshed in it, it can be hard to like feel anything outside of that. And so a lot of the times, like, you know, I'll get people who are like, I don't feel my loved one at all. And I always, I'll share this really quick story. And it just makes, so my paternal grandmother, I was really, really close to, and she passed away, in like 2009. And she passed suddenly. I saw her a few months before she passed. When I saw her, I had just had a feeling this was the last time I was going to see her, and I was crying in front of her, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I just said, "I'm really happy to see you." And so after she died, I was dreaming of her every night. Every night, like I'm at her house on her front porch. It's just me and her every night. And I was so sad because I just missed her so much that I got so angry, and I said, I don't want to see you. And I'm like, why would I say something like that? And then I didn't see her for like quite some time. And I was even more upset about that because I was like, where the fuck are you? Like, now I'm mad.
Grief is so weird and
so weird
all
and
over
like,
the place. And
then one day she came back, and I said, where did you go? And she's like, I didn't go anywhere. She goes, I was just standing over there, and I didn't want
I have a chill.
You to be sad. Yeah. And so like, and ever since then, she's like a roommate. She lives here. I have felt her. Like she came in my room one night, and I still ask my husband about this. He doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I just remember sitting up in bed, and she walked through my room, and I hugged her, and I grabbed her arm, and I started squeezing it, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, how come I can feel you? And she just smiled, and then she left. And then I woke up. Yeah, wow. It's really crazy and I think that stuff like that happens like with time too.
Yeah,
I think
that's a really good point. Is like I felt my mom after I think I connected with the medium at the right time. It was like 5 years late after she passed. And if it happens to like your loved ones, they need to give you your space. Maybe it's not good for us to feel them very strongly right away, because we have to learn that it's different now. It's very painful. And then when the time is right for them to come back and you feel their presence, I do think that, because that's what I learned about with like the ethics of mediumship too, is just like, it's not really ideal to read for somebody that like it's fresh. Like it should be at least like, you know, and it's case by case basis. It's always different, but like waiting at least 6 to 12 months is a good idea, because when it's like fresh, like we have to process, because it's really fucking hard to process
for sure
that like when somebody's gone. It's hard. So I do think that our loved ones maybe do that. Maybe we don't feel them right away because it's not like what's best for us.
Okay, I have two things. The first one, honestly, obviously we have to throw in Harry Potter at some point today. But it made me think of when Sirius says like the ones that love us never truly leave us. That's like the first thing I thought of when you said that, because that's just my
Was
brain.
yesterday.
My favorites. So good. I love him. And then this kind of switches a little bit, but I did want to ask you, you talk a lot about how often you experience things in dreams. Do you think that's your most like prominent experience in the spirit world, is in your dreams? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. It's such an interesting question because like I feel like I'm always kind of tapped in, but not. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like people are like, when you go to the store, I'm like, no, I'm not like Teresa Caputo being like, get that Paga.
That like Long Island medium. Excuse me.
Have you ever seen the SNL parody of that?
Yes.
No.
With Daniel Craig as the husband. Holy shit, you need to watch it. It's so funny.
I want to go look that up and
I die. I send it to my medium friend all the time. Like I'm like, I cannot. It's so funny. But but people will be like, when you go to the store, like, I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't
like that's for TV. I don't think he ever did that before her show either. You know, like I'm like, they definitely like set that up. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, well, they have to mic everybody, so
right.
Yeah.
Debunking it. But like so it's kind of I feel like it's always around me and it's always happening. So it's like I tried to explain this to somebody. They're like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just, and a reader once told me this years ago because I was like, I think I'm like sick and I have all these things. And she's like, you're just you. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just who you are. And I was like, okay, all right. I don't know what the fuck that means. So it's like, it's like tuning in and tuning out. So I feel like I'm always kind of like, just like aware of things. Yeah. But dreams are like dreams have been with me since I was little. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the dreams have been dreaming. So as you get like, that's the only way I can describe it. But I also think it's because I'm like doing readings like Monday to Friday essentially, right? So it's like that muscle is always active.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'm like, I can just go in and out and in and out if I need to.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I've gone on vacation and like took 2 weeks off, doesn't mean I don't pick up things or connected things or dream. I'm just not in that like space.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I think like, and because I used to do this when I was little, and I've talked about this before, and I still do it now, but now I'm like, oh, I'm probably being psychic. When I was little, I would make up stories about people when we were at the grocery store and stuff, but they were very mundane. There was nothing crazy. I wasn't like, that guy's a princess or something, or girl, whatever. That didn't come out right. But, I wasn't like, Mom, that guy over there is a king and da-da-da. It was like, that guy over there's dog just died or something. Like, I would make up really mundane stories. And to this day, that still happens where I'll be like, oh, I'll see two people talking and I'll be like, oh, I'd make up this story in my head. And I'm like, I'm never going to go confirm these things.
Excuse me.
Long Island medium it. But
excuse me.
I'm like, probably what's happening is I'm reading people. And maybe not. I'm very imaginative, but I also think there's a link between imagination and being very tuned in. Like we talked about with like creative people, with writers and stuff. I've always had a very vivid imagination. And I'm clairvoyant. I see. So it's like, it's really interesting.
It's like when you
write stuff off that you experience.
No, I think that visualization is like a big piece of it too. Of like, if you were that type of kid that was like imaginative and like could like picture these things in your mind, I feel like you were already tapping into something. You just didn't know what you were tapping into. And like, I see it too. I think when you're really connected to your inner child, I feel like you're so much more in tune. Yeah. There's like I feel like there's a huge link there. to being in that like almost like that childlike energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you don't really question anything. You just know that it's there and you know that it's real.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Freddy Krueger note was real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm sorry to bring that up. But like it's a good but it's a good no, but that's a good example.
Yeah.
Because like most people would be like, well, what the fuck? Someone left it there and you're like, no, literally nobody wrote this.
Yeah.
Someone else wrote this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, this was such a good conversation. Thank you so much, Dana.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. These questions were great. And
awesome.
I'm sorry I talk a lot. I could talk about this stuff.
Oh my god, no, that's my fucking yap.
Yap City.
Tell our listeners where they can find you, ways to work with you, your socials. We'll link everything in the show notes for everybody, but give us a quick rundown.
Oh god. Okay, so quickly, you can find me at the Waning Moon Witch.
You don't have to go fast. You're like,
okay.
We're gonna time you. You got 30 seconds.
1.5 speed. Go. No, just kidding.
You can find me at the Waning Moon Witch. I'm on Threads now. If anybody has hookups to Stephen King, tell them to hit me up.
Send this episode to Stephen King. Let's everybody spam him.
Yeah.
All 50 listeners.
Spam him. I love you, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Okay? One.
We'll clip it and tag him.
Can you imagine though if he's like, I mean, he's on a roll right now, so he might.
He might.
We can manifest
we'll
this
do
stuff.
it.
Come on, let's throw it out there.
I've been manifesting like crazy lately, so let's do it. We're in the energy.
Let's fucking go.
Go.
Right? Let's do it. Okay. You can find me there. You can find me on. I have a TikTok I hardly use. I think it's the same name. I cannot remember. I have a YouTube channel that I don't use, but I will be using soon. So everyone, like, that's where you can find me. My website is linked to my page. I am booking for February and March for one-to-one sessions for readings. I offer like, I don't know, I do mediumship. I do pet readings for pets that are alive and past. I know I love animals so much. Psychic readings. I have grief work sessions. If you need a death doula, I have a form to fill out on my site. What the hell else am I doing? I don't know. Oh my god. And
she is a jack of all trades in the spirit world, essentially.
Oh, and I have
a Jill of all trades.
A Jill of all trades. I have a side business actually that I just kind of like restarted after taking a 2-year break. I have a photography business.
Oh,
and
I'm also a photographer.
Oh my god, yay! I didn't know that. But I'm kind of focused on doing more like witchy branding shoots and
that's so cool.
Someone is pregnant.
Oh my god, the giggly witches, we need to come get a branding shoot with you.
Oh my god,
I know.
Where's everyone located?
I was just gonna say, where are you based?
Yeah, where are you?
I am in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada.
Okay, I was like, I think she's in Canada.
Oh yeah, when you said the sorries, and I was like, okay, she's somewhere in Canada.
I'm in Mexico right now, but I'm a nomad, so I don't live anywhere.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
In Nashville.
Currently in Nashville, yeah.
I've been to Nashville before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still need to
for like a night.
Yeah.
We were on the honor.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Toronto though, so let's plan a trip. Business trip.
I do like Toronto.
There's a lot of stuff here.
There is. So I had an off day, same band that I was talking about before. I had an off day, and they're all from Toronto. And we had like 3 days off in Toronto or something like that. And they all went home and just like put me in a hotel. And I was like, now what do I do?
Oh no.
So I went actually to the Science Museum there, and it was so cool.
It's closed now.
Oh no.
I know. That place is like oh god, it's a whole thing. Yeah, the Science Center.
It was
I know.
huge.
It's like the coolest place ever.
Yeah, it was very cool. That's sad. Womp womp.
Wait, question for you. Are you in a band?
No, when I was doing photo stuff, I was touring photographer.
Oh my god. May I ask who you toured with?
Pam is so cool. She was
a photographer.
She's really cool.
I toured
so cool
with I wasn't their photographer, but I toured with Slipknot. That's probably one of the cooler bands that I toured with.
God.
And I did like the fan club. So I did fan club photography for them, like the VIP fan club for them. And then the other really cool one that I toured with that I did just VIP, no photo stuff, was MGK.
Is he nice?
He was so nice. Honestly, very, very
I have dreamt of him before, I love him, by the way. He's popped up in my dreams random times. Randomly.
You're dreaming of MGK. I'm dreaming of Megan Fox.
What the fuck is happening? And it's not like,
look at that.
Let me preface this. None of this stuff is sexual, by the way, everyone. It's not like people are like, that's because people first ask you, they're like, was it like a sexy dream? I'm like, no, like I'm literally just hanging out and talking to these people. Like I know them. Yeah. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But he seemed very nice in my dream.
Yeah, no, he actually was very nice.
He's a fellow Pisces moon. I don't know how I know that.
Because Megan Fox loves astrology and she always talks about this.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I was like, yay, moon twins.
I love that. I love that. Oh my God. Okay. So everybody go follow Diana, book your readings. Pam, take it away with our stuff.
Okay. I've never done the outro, so might need some help. But you can find us.
I can go if you want.
Giggly Witches at Giggly Witches on Instagram and TikTok. And we also have a YouTube at Giggly Witches if you would like a visual
I'm gonna follow
of what's going on here. You can find me at Velvet Snake Oracle on TikTok and Instagram. Also comment and subscribe and like all of our Giggly Witches things. Woo. Sadie, what have you got?
You can find me at I am Sadie Olson on TikTok and Instagram, although I'm way more active on Instagram. I haven't been paying attention to TikTok lately, to be TBH. You can find me on YouTube, Magic with Sadie. I have lots of guided EFT tapping videos, and I'm taking requests if you want something to tap on specifically. And I'm now booking year ahead readings for 2025, Ooh. Which I'm very excited about. And they're currently discounted until Black Friday, or the spots sell out, which quite a few are already taken. So if you want to do a 2025 year ahead reading with me, I do psychic channeling first, and then we pull cards, and we'll create a nice little roadmap for you, themes to pay attention to, talk about what you want to make happen that would make 2025 really fulfilling, and we'll make a plan to get you there, tuned into the ethers, the energy. So link in the show notes.
I might get one. I might get one.
Oh my God. I would be honored.
I never, it's weird. Do you ever find that you get other people?
I never get readings. I just got my first astrology reading in years last month, with Diana Wesley, at North Node Coach. Shout out. She gifted me a solar return reading because I always refer a bunch of clients to her. And she was like, can I gift you a reading? I was like, and it was, I remembered, it made me remember how important what we do is, because you do a lot of readings and you're like, I don't know if that was that good or if they cared or whatever. I mean, all my clients are amazing. They always say it was amazing and text me, but then when you get a reading, you're like, that was so nurturing and so validating. And it kind of reminds you of how important the work you do. So any other working psychics out there listening, get yourself a reading. Doesn't have to be from me, but
yeah,
it's really nice because we forget.
And I think it's also it's a little form of how they say the healers need healing too.
Yeah.
I think it's a really nice way of,
treating yourself to that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, thank you for being here. That was so great.
Pam, your socials really quick.
Oh, I did.
Did it?
Sadie just doesn't listen to me anymore. That's it. That's the end.
Again. I'm sorry. I had a lot going on today. So sorry.
I love that. I've been saying that.
I think it's just gonna be me. It's just gonna be me talking about Mercury retrograde and a cardboard cutout of Sadie.
I'm so sorry, Pam. I'm listening. I'm so sorry.
No, honestly
listening to you talk.
There's a lot of weird heady energy. I also have seen, I don't know or understand the Schumann at all.
I don't either.
The flares, the flares have been flaring. There's all kinds of solar flares happening. Honestly, that might
didn't catch that at all. Headache. I'm really concerned right now.
Wait, I don't know anything about flares.
Yeah. I would love to learn more. Maybe we can.
And we're not sleeping.
I feel like I need to Google this.
Like solar flares.
Yeah, it's called. If you do the like Schumann resonance, I think it's called.
Oh God, I feel like I'm going on a deep dive tonight, everyone.
SCHUMANN.
Yes.
All right, giggly witches. Thank you so much. We love you. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.